Hi students, very good morning and really you are very warmly welcome for this online session. Dear student, in the first part of this lesson, we have understand these things. See here on the screen you can see which part which we have covered in the first video, and this is the page number 1. Here we have finished. Now in the second video we are going to understand this second part. Before starting this, just I'll read this for you, so no you will be having little understanding and the little ideas that what exact we are going to understand in this video. The climate, rainfall, agriculture, produce, flora and fauna of the region where we live are the sources of our livelihood. The lifestyle and culture of region develops with their support. Human settlement have flourished wherever the means of living are plentiful. Over a period of time, these settlements develop further into villages and towns. But sometimes reasons like the degradations of the environment, drought, inventions, etc., lead to scarcity of those means. People are forced to leave their settlements, villages, and towns become deserted. We see many such uh, instances in history. Thus, we see that there is a very close relation between history and geography. See here, I have read this for you. Just will explain. The climate, rainfall, agriculture, produce, flora and fauna of the region where we live are the sources of our livelihood. Dear students, where we are living, see, the people those they are having agriculture, they are depend on the climate. See which the climate is suitable for the agriculture, the crops farmer takes in their field. Yes, the rainfall, no, in how much quantity the rainfall is available in this area, it is also depend. So on the these all the natural things the agriculture is produce the flora and fauna. Yes, and it is depend on the people, they are depend on the these natural things. The lifestyle and the culture of region develops with their supports, and the supports which they are getting means if they get more crops in their field, so they are improving, they are developing their lifestyle. Human settlements have flourished wherever the means of living are plentiful, and in the areas where human they have developed, where they are getting the plenty, no the the things plentiful means the enough things, more things they are getting, from which area these areas are very much developed. See here the family which who are earning more money, they are getting developed early. It is also the same. Over a period of time, these settlements develop further into villages and towns, and the settlements, the people, how they are earning the money, how they are getting the more crops as they were developing themselves. Yes, but sometimes reason like degradations of the environment, drought, invention, etc., lead to the scarcity of those means. See, but some of the natural calamities, the people were affected by those like degradations, drought, invention. Yes, people are forced to leave their settlements. If there is the drought, means nothing to eat, there is no rainfall, so people were not getting the crops, and their development was decreased. So the people were forced. People they were had to leave their settlements. Yes, Villages and towns become deserted, and the people were not seen in the villages and town because there is no rainfall, nothing is there, the natural climate is there, so the people were not living there. We see many such incidents in history, and so many incidents we have seen in the history. Thus, we see that there is a very close relationship between history and geography. And here, at the first only, we have understood there is the close relationship between history and geography. Okay, let's go to the next. See, this is the second one, 1.2. Geographical features of India. Our country, India, extends far and wide. See, when we discuss about our country, we see that it is the far and wide. At its north lie the Himalayas, to the east, the Bay of Bengal, to the west, the Arabian Sea, and to the south, the Indian Ocean. See, here they have given about our country. It is far and wide. It is, and the four directions they have given. See, at its north lie the at north side the Himalaya is there. At the east, Bay of Bengal, west Arabian Sea. At the south, Indian Ocean is there. Except for the island Andaman, Nicobar, Lakshadweep, the rest of the country is contiguous. See, excepting this Andaman Nicobar Island, the country it is contiguous. Okay, we have to take into accounts this region henceforth referred to as ancient India when we study the ancient history of India before 1947. Today's Pakistan and Bangladesh were also a part of India. See, when we are understanding the ancient history of India, we get new information. See, we have to take into account these reasons. They told we must think about those. Henceforth referred to as ancient India. When we are understanding this ancient India, when we study the ancient history of India, when we understanding the history, we understood that before 1947, today's Pakistan, see the Pakistan and the Bangladesh, they were also the part of our India. The following regions are seen to be important when we look at the course of Indian history. And when we are understanding this course of history, the points they have given, these are very much important. Yes, let's will understand these paragraphs, these points. 6 points are given here: the Himalayas, the plains of Sindhu, Ganga, Brahmaputra rivers, the Thar Desert, the Deccan Plateau, the coastal region, the island in the seas. These are the main reasons which are very important to understand the Indian history. Understood, dear students? See, let's go to the next. Here we can see the Himalaya. See the picture they have given. Yes. Himalaya, the Hindu Kush and Himalaya ranges have created an impenetrable wall on the northern sides of the Indian subcontinent. Here we have understood that the Hindu Kush Himalaya ranges have created an impenetrable walls on the northern side of the Indian subcontinent. See, when we are understanding about the Indian subcontinent, the Himalaya, the Hindu Kush, yes or no? They have created the walls. This wall has separated the Indian subcontinent from the desert of Central Asia, and this wall it has made the separations in the Indian subcontinent. Okay, the Indian subcontinent and the Central Asia, they were the separated. However, there is a land route through the Khyber and Bolan passes in the Hindu Kush mountain. When we are understanding about the Hindu Kush mountain, we understood that one land route is there. It is through the Khyber and Bolan. It is passes by this. It is going by this Hindu Kush mountain. This route was connected to an ancient trade route, and this the route which is going by this Khyber and Bolan, it is also was connected into the ancient trade route. The ancient people they were had the trading by using this route. The trade route from China passed through Central Asia and reached Arabia. One trade route was there. It was passed. No, the trade route it was from the China and it was passed but through the Central Asia and it was reaching to the Arabia. Yes, it is known as the Silk Route or the Silk Road because silk was the main commodity exported to the western countries using this road. Very nice explanation they have given, dear student, here, that we have to understand what is the Silk Route, why it was called the Silk Route, which was from the China. Yes, the Silk Route, it was saying that the people in the ancient period, the silk was exported by using this road, and it was giving to the western countries using this road. The route through the passes was used by many foreign invaders to enter ancient India, and so many foreign invaders were there. They have used this way to enter ancient India. Many foreign travelers also came to India by this route. The so many foreign travelers, foreign people, they have came to India by using this same silk route. Yes. See, here the Khyber Pass, you can see the road they have given here picture. By looking this picture also you can understand it very easily. Yes. Now, the second one is that the plains of the Sindhu Ganga Brahmaputra. The plains of the Sindhu Ganga Brahmaputra, that we are going to understand it here. The region consists of the basin of the three big rivers Sindhu, Ganga, Brahmaputra, and their tributaries. This region extends from the Sindhu Punjab in the west to the present day Bangladesh in the east. It was in this region that the earliest Indian civilization of Harappa and the later states and empires of ancient India emerged. Very nice information they have given here. See, the region consists of the basin of these three big rivers. Which three big rivers are there? Sindhu, Ganga and Brahmaputra and the tributaries. Yes, and this region extends from the Sindh Punjab. The location they have given, the region it extends from the Sindh Punjab in the west present by present day Bangladesh, means the present in the Bangladesh. It is in the east. It was in this region that the earliest Indian civilization, and even it is the earliest Indian civilization of Harappa and the latter states empires of ancient India emerged. And before it was the Harappa, and later it had become the ancient India emerged. Yes, here you can see the river Ganga, the picture of river Ganga, they have given it here. Yes. Now the next, see the Thar desert here they have given, that we are also going to understand Thar desert. Yes. Here is the picture they have given of the Thar desert. The Thar Desert spreads across Rajasthan, Haryana and some part of Gujarat. Where does it located, student? The Thar Desert, the third point, it is located across the Rajasthan, Haryana and the parts of Gujarat. Yes, a part of desert lies in today's Pakistan. Even it is in the today's Pakistan also. The desert has the Satluj River to its north and Aravalli mountain range to its. See, at the north side of this desert is what? The Satluj river is there, and at the east side of this Thar desert is the Aravalli mountain. Yes, the run of Kachas to its south. See, the run of Kachas, it is at the south, and Indus Sindhu, it is at the west. Yes, the Ghaggar river that originates in Himachal Pradesh reaches the Thar desert. The Ghaggar river, you may have heard the name of this river. It is no, originates from the Himachal Pradesh and it is reaches to the Thar desert. It is known as the Hakra in Pakistan, and the river it is named Hakra in the Pakistan. And this river in Hindustan, in India, what does it call? It's called the Ghaggar river, and at Pakistan it's called the Hakra river. Its course in Rajasthan and Pakistan has now dried up. See, the Rajasthan and the Pakistan, here we can find the desert. Many sites of the Harappa civilizations are situated along the now dry course of the river. And the Harappa civilizations, many sites of the Harappa civilizations were also situated along with it and the dry course of the river. Here, see the main part of the Thar desert we have understood the four main direction and which are the things come there in the four directions of this Thar deserts also we have understood it here. See, dear student, the remaining part of this lesson that we will see in the next video. To get the more videos, you have to subscribe our channel and the links are shared in the descriptions. To know more, understand, to the better understand, you have to see this description box and click given link. Thank you.